Snow drifted slowly across the narrow mountain road as Daniel Hayes eased his truck to a stop. He did not know why he had slowed. He was not lost. He was simply exhausted in a way sleep never fixed. The storm was closing in, and the old hunting cabin ahead was the only shelter for miles. He told himself that was the reason. Nothing more. Daniel was 42, former Navy SEAL, recently retired. His body still carried the discipline of years spent surviving chaos, but his mind lived somewhere quieter and far more dangerous. Silence. He had come to the mountains to disappear inside it. The cabin had belonged to his father, a place without memories sharp enough to cut. As he stepped from the truck, the wind carried a sound that did not belong to the storm. A low, strained whimper. Daniel moved without thinking. Beneath a broken wooden bridge, half buried in snow, lay a German shepherd. Her body was curled tightly around 3 newborn puppies, so small they barely looked real. One of her hind legs bent at a wrong angle, blood darkening the fur beneath her belly. Her ribs showed. Her eyes did not. She lifted her head and growled. Weak. Defiant. Daniel crouched slowly, palms open. He recognized that look immediately. He had seen it in teammates holding positions they could not abandon. Pain did not matter. Fear did not matter. Only duty. "You're not wrong," he murmured. "But you won't last the night." The wind cut harder. Snow gathered on the puppies' backs, melting from their warmth and freezing again. Exposure would kill them within hours. Daniel removed his jacket and draped it carefully over the small cluster. The mother dog snapped once, then stilled. She watched him. Measured him. Lifting her was difficult. She whimpered as pain shot through her leg, but she did not bite. Daniel supported her weight, then gathered the puppies in a towel from his truck. Their cries were thin and desperate, sounds that reached places inside him he had kept sealed for years. Inside the cabin, the fire crackled to life. Daniel laid the dog near the hearth, surrounding her with blankets and spare clothes. She collapsed with a heavy breath, eyes never leaving the puppies as they pressed against her warmth. Daniel worked quietly, cleaning the wound, assessing the damage. Broken. Badly. He had treated injuries his entire adult life, but this felt different. This was not a mission. There was no extraction. When the puppies finally settled, their breathing uneven but steady, Daniel stepped back and folded his arms tightly across his chest. The cabin no longer felt empty. He told himself this was temporary. But something inside him had already shifted. Night fell heavy and absolute, the storm pressing against the cabin like something alive. Daniel remained awake, sitting at the table, listening to unfamiliar sounds. Small breaths. A soft whine. Life refusing to be quiet. The mother dog watched him constantly. Pain dulled her movements, but not her awareness. When he approached, she tensed, then relaxed. Trust did not come freely, but it came. A knock broke the silence. Daniel froze. Not startled. Focused. The knock came again, softer this time. He opened the door to find a woman standing in the snow, swaying with exhaustion. Her coat was thin, her hands raw and shaking. Dark hair clung to her face, eyes steady despite the cold cutting through her. "I'm sorry," she said. "My car died. I just need to wait out the storm." Daniel stepped aside without asking questions. Inside, the woman's gaze fell immediately to the dogs by the fire. Her expression softened in a way that felt familiar to him, like recognition. "They wouldn't have made it," she said quietly. "No," Daniel replied. Her name was Emily Carter. A teacher. Displaced after wildfires destroyed her home. She spoke without drama, without apology. Daniel listened without interrupting. Silence was something he understood. Days passed as the storm refused to break. Roads vanished beneath drifts. The radio crackled with warnings. Emily stayed. Not because she asked to, but because leaving was impossible. Daniel received a call on the fourth morning. Temporary deployment. Short. Necessary. I'll need to go, he said simply. The dogs will need care. Emily looked at the animals by the fire. Considered the space. Then nodded. I can stay. Daniel left without ceremony. Instructions were precise. Practical. Easier than gratitude. Alone, Emily settled into the cabin's quiet. She rose early, tended the fire, cleaned the wound. The mother dog watched her closely at first, then with less tension. The puppies grew louder, stronger, demanding warmth and milk and presence. Emily taught online lessons in the afternoons, children's faces flickering across the screen. Purpose returned in small, steady pieces. At night, she sat by the fire, listening to the dogs breathe, letting exhaustion replace fear. The cabin changed. Not dramatically. Intentionally. Emily did not call it hope. But she stayed. The sound came just after midnight. Footsteps. Deliberate. Heavy. Emily did not panic. Fear was present, but controlled. She moved first to the dogs, guiding the mother and puppies into the reinforced storage room Daniel had shown her. The mother placed herself instinctively between Emily and the pups. Metal scraped against wood. Emily switched off the lights and activated the alarm. Its shrill scream cut through the storm. Outside, a curse shattered the night. Headlights flared across the clearing moments later. Frank Miller stepped from the tree lean, flashlight steady, voice calm and absolute. The intruder fled without argument. Frank stayed long enough to ensure the threat was gone. You did right, he told Emily simply. Morning arrived pale and quiet. The storm finally spent. Daniel returned 2 days later. He stopped his truck and stared. The fence stood straighter. Firewood stacked neatly. Light glowed warmly through the window. The mother dog stood on the porch, leg bearing weight again. The puppies rushed him, tumbling through snow with unrestrained joy. Daniel knelt, hands steady, breath uneven. Inside, the cabin felt different. Organized. Lived in. Emily stood near the doorway. Taller somehow. Grounded. You're back, she said. They sat at the table with coffee between them. Emily told him about the intruder. About the alarm. About Frank. Daniel felt anger. Then guilt. Then something else. Respect. You didn't wait for help, he said. I didn't have time to, she replied. The silence that followed was not empty. Later, Daniel stood outside alone, breathing in cold air softened by sun. He realized the place had changed because someone had chosen to care for it. Staying had done what leaving never could. When Emily joined him, he spoke quietly. I'm glad you stayed. She nodded. So am I. Spring arrived without ceremony. Snow retreated inch by inch, revealing damp earth and cautious green beneath. Birds returned. The land breathed again. Emily received the call first. The school wanted her back. Part-time. Then full. She accepted without celebration. Daniel filed his own paperwork days later. A training assignment. Close to home. He did not explain. He did not need to. Their days settled into rhythm. Coffee in the mornings. Fence repairs. Lessons taught. Puppies growing into themselves. The mother dog moved without pain now, her vigilance softened into calm. There were no promises made. No declarations spoken aloud. Instead, there were shared tasks and quiet understanding. Work done side by side. Silence that no longer felt like absence. Emily noticed the change when she returned from her first day teaching. Tired, fulfilled. Daniel listened. Offered coffee. Nothing more. Daniel noticed it at night. Sleep came easier. Memories no longer overwhelmed him. Grief had not vanished, but it had made room. One afternoon, Emily stood beside him watching the dogs run across wet grass. "I didn't think I could stay anywhere this long," she said. "Sometimes stopping lets things settle," Daniel replied. They did not speak of the future. They did not need to. The cabin was no longer a refuge from pain. It was a home shaped by patience and care. Healing had arrived quietly, through presence rather than rescue. Sometimes miracles come softly. Sometimes they arrive on four legs, in borrowed blankets, through doors opened on cold nights. And sometimes, staying changes everything.